Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Let's continue our discussion still on topic number 2, literature review, but the focus of today's discussion is on identifying research topic. At the end of the session, students are expected to be able to generate and refine research ideas into researchable topic and identify issues or problems that warrant research. Identifying research topic is one of the most daunting tasks for any students. This is the common problem raised by students whenever they want to start their research journey. They always ask me what is the topic they should be looking into, what type of research focus that they should be attempting. So in this session we'll be discussing on that, but before we proceed further, let's talk about problem statement. In our previous discussion we talked about this problem statement at length. If you can recall it, there are three research gaps with regard to this problem statement. In other words, the problem statement can be generally be summarized into 1, theoretical gap, 2, practical gap, or 3, methodological gap. And in any research, it is quite possible to have these 3 combination of gaps. That means in a research, these gaps can overlap, meaning to say in a given research, it is possible that research is focusing on theoretical gap as well as practical gap, and at the same time also addressing methodological gap, but that is normally very rare. For the nature of our research, most of the time we will be focusing on this theoretical gap as well as the practical gap. Theoretical gap is very much concerned on the fundamental research element or basic research, whereas practical gap is the application of the findings. So in other words, it is addressing the or it is a type of research called applied research. Whatever it is, the problem statement is actually the reason why we embark on a research. So a research topic or a phenomenon is something that we want to examine further, and we want to provide some solution. If not a complete solution, at least we want to solve or provide a partial solution to the problem that are being faced by certain contexts. So in order to start looking for a research topic, you have to also ask yourself what topic that you have strong interest on, because you have to do a research. You have to do a research that you have some knowledge or experience about the topic, because that can shorten up the time for you to complete the research. If you want to venture into something that you are not really very familiar, then you will take a longer time to complete the research. I'm not saying it's not possible, it is possible, but you will take a long time because you need to also explore the fundamental aspect about the topic. You know, the basic fundamental knowledge about the topic you have to investigate. If you are venturing into something that you have some knowledge, some experience, so you can save time understanding on the fundamental knowledge or topic. Alright, so as I've said, we have to always start, we have to always work on something that we are familiar with, because that can save a lot of time, and it can also speed up our time to complete the research. Now, in this session, I'll be discussing the steps that I normally advise to students on how they can focus on the research topic they should be doing for their research project or their master's dissertation or their PhD thesis. So in essence, I divided the steps into 6. Okay. The first one, you have to write down the broad area of interest. I will provide examples after this. After these slides. In the subsequent slides, I will give more detailed examples. Okay, just go through very quick what are the steps involved. The first one, you have to write down your broad area of interest, and then from the broad area of interest, you have to break down into the sub area. Focus or narrow the broad areas into specific areas that you have strong interest on, and coupled with your knowledge and experiences. And then for each of the sub area that you have identified, you have to identify the possible phenomena, and also the context. So in social science research, we have to always think about the context, because the problem must exist in a certain context. So context means the place, the location, the people who are affected by the phenomenon. So it cannot be in isolation or detached from a certain context. For example, if you are thinking about a topic on, say, system development practice, so you have to think of the context where are you going to study on system development practice. If you want to focus on knowledge management implementation, then you have to think about the context where are you going to study about this knowledge management implementation. So the context must be must be also taken into consideration when you want to think of a research topic. And then using the 4W1H, who, what, where, when, and also how, list several unanswered questions. So basically these are the draft questions, okay, with respect to the sub area that you have identified in the previous steps. And then the next course of action is to do literature review. So based on the draft research questions, you try to identify or list several appropriate keywords. So you are going to use these keywords to do literature review. And then the next step is to investigate the feasibility of doing the study in that particular context, because sometimes the topic looks nice on paper, and we thought it is possible to do, in a certain context, and then when you proceed contacting the person in charge in that particular context, it seems that the particular organization or that particular setting does not really allow you to do the research there. So that's why doing a feasibility study or preliminary study is very crucial. Alright, I'm giving you an example here. The first step that I mentioned just now is that you have to write down your broad area of interest. Okay, like the example here, this is quite broad, information systems, or is it information management or knowledge management. So this is considered very broad. Okay, and then the next step is to write down a specific sub areas of this broad area in which we have particular interest. As for the first example, information system, the sub area can be information systems development, or you may want to focus on information systems implementation, or you want to look into the assessment of information system effectiveness. How effective are information systems being used in an organization, for example. That is an example for information system. As for information management, possible sub areas can be like information retrieval, okay, or information searching. You may want to know about the information searching behavior of certain group of people or certain individual, okay, or you can also want to focus on information organization. Okay, as for under knowledge management, the possible sub area can be like knowledge tools and technologies. Okay, what are the tools being used for implementing knowledge management? Okay, how people share knowledge, knowledge sharing, knowledge representation, knowledge creation. So these are the sub areas within the broad area. Now, for each of the sub area that has been identified, try to identify the possible context where you are going to examine the research. Okay, example here, information system development practice in Malaysian super corridor companies, Malaysian super corridor companies, MSc status companies, or information system implementation practice in public versus private companies, or assessment of information system effectiveness in certain companies. So you have to think of the context. Okay, where are you going to look into, or where are you going to conduct the research on? Okay, that's the third step. The fourth step, you try to develop several draft research questions. For instance, here, information system development practice in the MSc status company. So the possible research questions, draft research questions, can be like, how do MSc status companies develop information systems? Okay, what are the tools used for developing information systems? Who are involved in the development of information systems? Okay, if it's let's say the topic in knowledge management, say the topic is on knowledge creation ability, so you can use the 4W1H questions to develop the draft research questions. Okay, who are involved in knowledge creation in an organization? Okay, what are the processes involved? What are the techniques? What are the tools used in knowledge creation? Okay, how knowledge creation takes place in a certain organization? Okay, when do people create their knowledge? Okay, so using these basic questions for W1H, you can come up with several draft research questions. Now, from the draft research questions, the next course of action is to identify the appropriate keywords. Okay, the appropriate keywords. Like example, if the topic is on information system development, so the keywords that I can use will be like system development method, okay, or information system development, or system development methodology, okay, or system development practice. So these are the keywords. Now, so you use this keyword, you combine with the words that are normally used in research. For example, you can combine the word system development method, and then you can use the Boolean operator and survey, and then you can start searching on your databases. You know, we already discussed on the list of databases that you should be focusing on. Okay, you can use example system development method and case study. Okay, like in this example, okay, let's say the topic is information system development practice in MSc status companies. So we have got these draft research questions. Okay, system development plus future research. Okay, system development methodologies plus future research, and system development system development and survey. Okay, now that particular keywords future research is also very helpful because there are authors who write papers on a topic where they are actually proposing, okay, for research topic actually. Okay, like okay, the sources that you should be referring to, of course, I think I've mentioned in my previous discussion, we should be looking from the prestigious journal, okay, top ranked journal in our area. Okay, we have discussed in our previous discussion on information system, we have got this top 8, okay, prominent journal in information systems, and then also search from the prominent famous top ranked conference proceeding, and also thesis and dissertation. Okay, and sometimes on a certain universities or sometimes certain researchers, they have grouped themselves into a research collaboration, and they have formed a group where they have certain research activities, and you can also write to them, or you can also nominate yourself to be part of the research activities. Last time I had the experience joining this Interpares project. So in this Interpares project, we are focusing on this research on authentic records. Okay, and then there are also special interest group, you know, established by certain university or faculty. So you can also write to them and look at their research productivity, look at their research publication. Okay, that can actually provide you with the starting point of what you can start on your journey on identifying the research topic. Okay. Okay, now as for the journal article or conference proceeding and thesis and dissertation, normally you can look at the conclusion part. Okay, conclusion part, or sometimes at the end of the discussion part. Remember, in any journal, you can see the journal the article is being organized in the following manner, whereby it has got the introduction, literature review, and research method, findings, discussion, and conclusion. So at the end of the last part, normally in the conclusion, or sometimes at the end of the discussion part, the researcher will propose, okay, how the current research can be further extended by future researcher. So that is a very good avenue for you to identify a possible research topic. And sometimes researcher also, or authors also, come up with an article that suggests possible topics to be focused on doing research. So they have this title and then plus with the word future research. You can find several articles written in that manner. So you can also look into this type of article. As for the thesis also, normally at the end of the thesis, normally you will see this heading, future research, recommendation and future research, or limitation and future research. Okay, so the author will be offering or suggesting how the present study can be further exploited by other researcher. Okay, same goes to dissertation. You can see that heading, okay, in the last chapter. So as for this research group or research collaboration, you can offer yourself to become a member, and normally this research group or a research consortium, they have some topics that they can offer to you. Okay, so this is an example of a research article where you see even on the title itself, you can see the author has written there future research, current issue on knowledge management system for future research. So this is a good type of article where you can identify possible research topic. This is another example written by Peter Hiesing. He's from Germany. Actually, I met her once when I went to UK. I visited him. He was working at Leeds University. Now he's back in Germany. So he wrote a paper entitled Knowledge Management Advancement and Future Research Needs. Okay, so if you read his research work, he proposed other possible topics that can be investigated with regard to knowledge management. This is another topic, this is another article composed by Farhan and Muhaimin. So look at the title, The Impacts of Knowledge Sharing, a Review and Direction for Future Research. So if you read the content, highlight what are the possible research topics that researcher can venture into. And this is another example, knowledge sharing, a survey, assessment, and direction for future research. So some article, the author had explicitly put the words future research. So such article is a very good avenue for you to get a research topic. But sometimes the topic that you are looking into is something that you are not really familiar, or something that you don't have any interest on. So in cases like that, it's best that you look for research article, empirical research article that has been published. And as I've said, look on this research article on the conclusion part, or any thesis on any topic that you really love to do. Go to this thesis, go to this dissertation, look at the conclusion part and try to read the conclusion part. Surely, definitely, the author, the writer will be writing something about limitation of the research or suggestion of the research, and also how the research can be further expanded or extended by future researcher. Okay, just another example here, making the most of information technology and system usage, a literature review framework and future research agenda. So this author are actually suggesting how and what the researcher can be focusing on for future studies. Okay, another example here, social network and information system, ongoing and future research streams. Okay, a good article you should be reading. Okay, these are a few that I randomly pick from the Google search. Actually, there are thousands. I'm just giving example where you can see the words future research appearing on the title. But when you want to think of a research topic or search a research topic, you do not have to necessarily search for a research article with the word future research in the title of the article. Not necessary. As long as it is an empirical research, okay, and look at the conclusion part, read the conclusion part, definitely you will see that particular author will be offering research topic, okay, that can be further extended based or originating from the research that he has done or completed. Okay, another example here, a causal model to predict organizational knowledge sharing via information and communication technologies. Well, this is actually a thesis. Okay, I just searched the internet, got one this one thesis here. So this is the research thesis, and you can see I have picked up the a snapshot of the table of contents. On the last chapter, there's a subheading called future research. So you can go into that future research subheading, go to that page 148, and then you can read up. You can notice that the researcher have provided, the author had provided a very interesting topic where other researcher can consider adopting or using that research topic for their research work. Okay.